Hi, I'm Bernard from Whitewater Brewery. You're welcome here. This is our business is 23 years old this year. We're the largest craft brewer in Northern Ireland. Yeah, we started on the family farm in 1996, about 18 miles from here, just up in the middle of the Mournes. That was pretty much in a shed that my great-grandfather would have been born in. So we converted that from a potato store in 1995 and started the business in 1996. So we spent about 20 years on the family farm, which is still a working farm. And then we got planning permission. We bought a site here, and we got planning permission to move our microbrewery from the Adicol near Kilkeel area down to Castlewell. Well, my background, I'm an engineer. I qualified as a chemical engineer, first of all, chemical and food engineer. And I decided that whenever I left Northern Ireland in 1989 and worked in England, I thought that last time Northern Ireland didn't have an awful lot of opportunities for, especially in chemical engineering and chemical and food engineering, it was a bit limited. And I went over to England and worked in the dairy industry for 3 to 4 years. And the sort of transfer across between the dairy industry and the brewing industry happened by accident. Once I had brewed for the very first time, I brewed in a small company in Manchester, and after I brewed I just knew that's what I wanted to do, and it was probably a bit of the clouds parting moment, because until then, yes, I had been inducted in beer in Northern Ireland and liked to go out, and I'd done a small bit of homebrew as a youngster. But I decided that whenever I did this commercially, this is the business I wanted to be in, so I started from that point. It's the thing I was hitting, and I still remember the day, and I said, "There will be beer," and that was one of those things, every time I hit the hammer, I went, "There will be beer." Something that we've put onto our literature is when we built the brewery, we pretty much built everything ourselves. We are reasonably handy at what we do, but we had to actually do some things ourselves which are quite arduous. You know, we didn't have a house, we were renting, and we were living in a caravan, and the whole thing was we had to get jobs, and our jobs had to fund the brewery, so I tended to work during the daytime in my job, and then at night time we brewed. So it was pretty much just trying to get the business going, trying to get the wheels turning. Sometimes it's a quite difficult thing to do. We look at different things that we have to do, different problems in the process, and one of the problems in our process was we have this fancy system that generates a cooling liquid at -6 and pumps it around the brewery. But we are small businesses. There's 8 or 9 of us in the company, and we don't have the money for really fancy control systems. So one of the issues that we identified was when our beer's fermenting, we keep tight control of the fermentation temperature, which is very important for the quality. So we have a plan that we know on an evening time that the beer's going to rise in temperature naturally with a reaction of fermentation, but we have to cool it. So I have to come down to the brewery and start putting valves on and monitoring the temperature, maybe pulling it down a couple of degrees. But my son is 16, his name's Ben, he's studying his first GCSEs at the moment, and Ben looked at that issue that when I discussed it with him, and he decided that, well, number one, we're going to be able to see this remotely. So he went off his own bat and bought the little microcontrollers, the temperature probes, taught himself how to code it, and then subsequently developed an app for it, which I have on my phone. So at this moment in time, I can, any place in the world, I can see what the temperature of my beers, how they're fermenting. And then we're going to progress that on to the next phase of actually being able to control the temperatures from remotely. And so it's something that we've actually started, and it's come out of a small business, somebody talking in this on ourselves, deciding that we're going to do, we have an issue and we're going to address that. So. And we don't have a lot of money to invest in things like this, so this is perfect. The market in Northern Ireland is maybe somewhat different than the market in other parts of the UK or even in the south of Ireland. There are maybe a couple of dominant players in Northern Ireland, and that maybe tightens the market down a little more. It's harder to get your product into draft scenarios. It can be a bit more difficult than other places. So yeah, we started bottling our beers, taking them into the supermarkets, taking them into the local restaurants, local bars. So that was the product that we decided that we were going to sell a product in, the expression every hole in a hedge we could go to. And that's it, we treat everybody, each customer, be the large retailers or the small restaurants, we're delivering, if it's one case or 100 cases, each one of those is a customer. Our favourite beer, or my favourite beer here, is Maggie's Leap. Maggie's Leap is our 4.7% IPA, and it would be the best selling craft draft IPA in Northern Ireland. Something we're very, very proud of, especially with Maggie's Leap just being 7 or 8 miles up the road along the coast where I used to walk my dogs, and the idea of having a beer, we were looking for a name of a beer, and suddenly we just went Maggie's Leap, and that's something we're selling at the moment in Russia, we're selling it in Japan, we're selling it in Dubai, we're selling it pretty much all over the world at the moment. It's gone since actually, yeah, it's proven very, very popular, and certainly it's proven very, very popular in Northern Ireland, and we're astounded with the success of it.